Have you ever felt betrayed by someone you loved, someone you trusted more than anyone else? Now imagine that betrayal playing out in front of the whole world, tearing apart not just a family, but an entire institution. That's what Prince William is facing as his younger brother, Prince Harry, exposes what he calls the painful truth of his life in the royal family. But what if everything we thought we knew about this heartbreaking family rift is wrong? For years, Harry's version of the story, the forgotten prince, the victim of neglect, has captivated the world. His memoir, Spare, sold millions, painting a picture of a man crushed under the weight of royal expectations. But what if William, the stoic and reserved older brother, has been hiding a much darker truth? What if, for all the pain, Harry's accusations are not just hurtful, they're built on lies? Today, we're diving deep into the emotional fallout between the two brothers. Prince William is finally breaking his silence, revealing the shocking truth about Harry's betrayal, his manipulation by Meghan, and the lies that have shaped the world's perception of their family. As we unravel this story, you'll see how one book, one interview, one public feud have completely shattered the monarchy as we know it. Get ready for the real story, unfiltered, raw, and filled with shocking revelations that will change the way you view the royal family forever. This isn't just about princes and princesses. It's about family, loyalty, and the cost of fame. Stay tuned. When we think about the British royal family, we picture a life of grandeur, tradition, and unwavering loyalty. But what happens when the very foundation of that family begins to crack? When the personal ties that have held them together for generations suddenly seem more fragile than ever before. Prince William and Prince Harry's feud has been one of the most talked about events in recent years. But how much of what we've been told is the full truth? Is Prince Harry really the victim he's made himself out to be? Or is there another side to the story, one that's been buried beneath years of royal silence and media manipulation? The drama all started with the release of Spare, Harry's memoir, which sent shockwaves through the media. In it, Harry painted a picture of a man who had always been in the shadow of his older brother, the heir to the throne, Prince William. Harry described feeling ignored, sidelined, and even bullied by his own family, painting a narrative that seemed to suggest he was nothing more than an afterthought, constantly overshadowed by William's future as king. For many, it was a heartbreaking story of a brotherly bond broken, of a young man who had spent his life trapped in a role he never asked for. It was a narrative that resonated with a lot of people. After all, who doesn't love a good underdog story? But what if everything we've been told isn't the whole truth? Prince William, until now, had stayed largely silent about the claims made by his brother. But when Harry's memoir was released, it became clear that silence was no longer an option. In an emotional address, William finally broke his silence, and what he revealed was a shocking contrast to the image Harry had portrayed. For years, William had watched his brother's narrative unfold in the public eye, carefully crafted by Harry and Meghan to paint them as victims of the royal system. But William's perspective was different. He had lived through it all alongside Harry, and he knew that much of the story was a distortion of the truth. According to William, Harry's version of events was not just misleading, it was entirely false. The notion that he had always been treated as the spare was a myth, one that had been deliberately created to garner sympathy and support. The truth, William argued, was that Harry had never been sidelined in the way he had claimed. From the moment Harry was born, he had been treated with the same love and support as William. He was never an afterthought. He had been given opportunities, responsibilities, and a role within the royal family that was meaningful. He had a place, and that place was never in the shadow of his brother. Yet, Harry chose to rewrite his own history, portraying himself as a victim of neglect and exclusion. William, understandably, felt betrayed by this. How could his brother, whom he had shared so much with, now paint their shared childhood as one of pain and rejection? It wasn't just the public accusations that hurt William. It was the way Harry had rewritten their relationship. Growing up, the two brothers had been inseparable. They shared a bond that was built on mutual respect, love, and a shared sense of loss over the death of their mother, Princess Diana. For years, they had stood side by side, navigating the pressures of royal life together. But somewhere along the way, that bond began to unravel. And according to William, the blame lay squarely with Meghan Markle. From the moment Meghan entered the picture, William could sense that things were changing. At first, he had tried to welcome Meghan into the family, hoping that she would embrace the royal role and the responsibilities that came with it. But Meghan had different plans. Her arrival was met with resistance to royal traditions, and soon, private conversations began to leak to the press. William, ever the protector of the monarchy, tried to intervene, but Harry was no longer listening. Instead, he accused William of jealousy and of not supporting him. The relationship between the brothers began to deteriorate rapidly. In many ways, Meghan's influence over Harry became undeniable. What was once a close, trusting bond between siblings turned into a bitter rivalry, fueled by Harry's defense of his wife and his increasing isolation from the family. As the media storm surrounding their relationship intensified, the brothers found themselves on opposite sides, with Harry and Meghan choosing to publicly attack the monarchy they had once been a part of. William, on the other hand, was left to watch in silence as his family's reputation was torn apart. But what if Meghan wasn't the only factor at play here? Sure, her influence was significant, but the reality is far more complicated. Harry had always resented his role within the family. Long before Meghan entered the picture, he had always felt like the second choice, the one who would never be king. But this resentment wasn't about being sidelined. It was about something deeper. It was about Harry's desire for something more, something beyond the rigid constraints of royal duty. And when he found Meghan, someone who seemed to understand that desire, he latched onto it. She became his escape from the system he had always felt trapped in. Yet, this idea that Harry was simply seeking freedom from the monarchy doesn't completely explain his actions. Why? After all, would someone who had been given so much privileges, responsibilities, and love from his family decide to burn all his bridges? It's easy to say that Harry was a victim of royal expectations, but is it possible that he was also a man who couldn't accept the reality of his position? What if his resentment wasn't just about being overshadowed by William, but about a deeper sense of disillusionment with the monarchy itself? When Harry and Meghan decided to step away from their royal duties, the royal family was blindsided. William, who had been desperately trying to salvage the relationship with his brother, watched as Harry and Meghan took matters into their own hands, announcing their departure with little regard for the family they were leaving behind. In the wake of their departure, William and the rest of the royal family were left to pick up the pieces. But it wasn't just about the loss of Harry's presence. It was about the public image of the monarchy, which was now under intense scrutiny. This wasn't just a family dispute. This was a public war, fought on the global stage. And the aftermath was devastating. The royal family, once seen as a symbol of stability, now faced questions about its relevance, its unity, and its future. Harry and Meghan had turned their backs on the institution, and in doing so, they had exposed the cracks within the monarchy. But the story isn't over yet. As William continues to speak out, the public is left to wonder, can the monarchy survive this crisis? Can Harry and William ever repair their fractured relationship? Or has the damage been done so deep, so personal, that reconciliation is no longer possible? And perhaps the biggest question of all, was Harry ever truly the victim he claimed to be? Or was he a man who, driven by resentment and a thirst for independence, simply chose to rewrite his own history? As we look at the state of the royal family today, we must ask ourselves, where do we go from here? Will the monarchy be able to recover from this public betrayal? Or is this the beginning of the end? One thing is for sure, the fallout from Harry and William's feud will continue to shape the future of the royal family for years to come. The question now is whether the family will be able to heal or whether this rift will be permanent. As we close this chapter of the ongoing royal saga, one thing is clear. The rift between Prince William and Prince Harry is more than just a personal feud. It's a clash of identities, loyalty, and a family torn apart by betrayal. The truth, as painful as it may be, is that both brothers have been affected by forces beyond their control. But whether it's the media, the weight of royal expectations, or the influence of those closest to them, the fallout is real, and the scars run deep. So, where does this leave us? Can William and Harry ever find common ground again? Or is their relationship too fractured to repair? And even if they do, what kind of royal family will they return to? One thing is certain, this story is far from over. The future of the monarchy and the relationships within it hangs in the balance. But what do you think? Is Harry truly the victim he claims to be? Or is there more to this story than we've been led to believe? Can the royal family ever recover from the damage caused by this feud? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about where this family goes from here. And if you want to stay up to date with all the latest insights and updates on the royal family, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. You don't want to miss out on the next chapter of this unfolding drama. Keep watching and stay tuned for more exclusive content only here on